Hello, 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 hello. Here you have Miss Topezia Ivy. That's me. I am the founder of the Chosen Ones, where our mission is to prevent girls from being sex trafficked by educating, empowering, and encouraging mothers. On today, we have Miss Lakia Shumate and Miss Dr. LaTarsha Holden. And on today, we will be discussing understanding your daughter's love language and why it's important to understand her love language. And we'll go over kind of what love language is and what the different love languages are. And so, as far as Miss Dr. Holden, she is a prolific author with books ranging from her autobiography, children's books, a personal development training manual, and her latest release, Leadership Principles: The Power of Personal Development. She is a former political candidate as she ran for city council in the 2017 election. She is named Georgia National Mother of the Year in year 2020 by American Mothers Inc. She is the 85th woman in the U.S. history to hold the title of National Mother of the Year. She's organized several community events for the homeless and empowerment events to encourage women enduring difficult hardships. She's advocated on several issues such as domestic violence, equal rights, amendment, homelessness, stop the violence, and lack of affordable housing. Dr. Holden has been a guest panelist on different platforms to discuss topics as leaders in ministry, race, and poverty in America, women in politics, entrepreneurship, and homelessness. She was the owner of LDW Residential Contracting Services for 5 years. Dr. Holden is a thought leader on leadership, personal development, and parenting. She's also a licensed ordained minister and a notary public. She was a guest on ABC to Tell the Truth and Anthony Anderson in 2021. Among the prestigious awards and honors bestowed upon Dr. Holden, she was featured in the Heart of Champion docuseries by the Women's Professional Basketball Association. Thank you so much, Dr. Holden, for joining us. In addition to Dr. Holden, we have Miss Lakia Shumate. Miss Lakia Shumate is the co-founder of the Chosen Ones. She helped create the organization that's represented here today. She's on her and I, because I'm her mother, her and I co-authored a book called More Than Conquerors, which can be found on Amazon. She's also a survivor and advocate of sex trafficking. So we're going to jump right on in, right on in. Again, thank both of you ladies for joining us. And we're going to discuss um, what love language is. In short, one's love language can be viewed as how a person feels or perceives love. Keep in mind that it is possible for your daughter to have more than one love language, and each child has their own unique love language. Now, according to Jerry Chapman, there are 5 languages: words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts. So, again, we're going to go over and discuss why it's important for us as moms to understand what our daughter's love language is. And again, I'm going to say it one more time, and I'll say it throughout this time, our time together, just so that we can get it. We can keep it at the forefront of our mind. So it's words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts. So with that said, and I'll go over in a moment, kind of what those different languages kind of look like and how to speak to those. But first, Dr. Holden, if you can kind of hone in or kind of uh, give us a brief background on your story and how you became mother, 2020 Mother of the Year, Georgia National Mother of the Year.
Well, I want to thank you and your beautiful daughter for having me as a guest with you guys today. Well, just in short summary, within the last 12 years, I went from being homeless in the streets of Atlanta for 4 years with 6 children. So I was 35 years old, homeless in the streets of Atlanta for 4 years with 6 children. I only had a GED and very little work history. And so I went from being homeless to running for city council. And in 2017 election, from a GED to a doctorate in leadership studies, a 17-time published author and a comic book creator. And so for me, I definitely was faced with being homeless for such a long period of time. At that time, I faced being homeless for such a long period of time. The vulnerabilities of being in that situation. When I enrolled in college in 2007, we was living in a boarded up house as squatters. So I had two children in high school at that time, two kids in middle school, and two kids in elementary. So it was definitely it was a journey because to keep six children from the school to prison pipeline, sex trafficking, and running away, and just uh it was a lot mentally. It almost took me out of here because that was a lot to
Mhm.
bring a family of seven out of poverty and homelessness.
And but you did. And can we hear a little bit about that?
Yes, yes. I mean, and the reason I stress about to mental agony, first we're in the mental health awareness month, because the longer you're in any situation over a traumatic situation over a period of time, there's some PTSD that can come out. I still deal with some residue um, of thinking process in a positive way. That was a lot to accomplish in the last 12 years. That was a lot. So I just had to mention the mental, because I don't want people to think, oh, well, maybe she did all that. Maybe she had no. We talking about, yeah. When you're 4 years, as a pastor, I often pose the question, what happens when your struggle outlasts your strength? We all can go through something for a couple of weeks, months, but what happens when it becomes years? And so that's why I just mentioned the mental agony of it. That was a lot to do to bring a family of that size out of poverty.
I totally agree. I totally agree. And again, like you mentioned, it's and having to go through all of that and still be able to nurture your child in a way that she or he feels love, I'm sure had to be a challenge in itself, especially when you have more than one child. For me at the time, because I was once faced with homelessness, and I had to kind of figure out how to maintain or making sure that we had somewhere to sleep, as well as making sure that they felt included and valued and all of those things. But however, I wasn't quite aware of the impact or the importance of understanding my daughter's love language at the time. And so, with that being said, Dr. Holden, can you help me discuss and explain to those who will be or are watching, why is it to know your daughter's love language?
Um, I'm very familiar with the love languages, and I think when we talk, I have a different viewpoint on that
Hmm.
for us the love languages. From because as for me, as I didn't, of course, understand love languages until I went to college. I call it differently. I call it because I have three sons and three daughters. So for me, it wasn't so much about learning their love language. It was about learning them individually so I can love them accordingly to who they are. So for me, I mean, because if a as an adult, if a love, because as me for me as children, their love languages can be gifts, because they haven't really sort out who they are. But if I'm homeless and I don't have money to buy gifts, that means I will fail them, in which I did not materially have money to do anything for them. So for me, I just learned their personalities, and I love them according to who they are. And that meant for me, if I had a child that was more meekly, I'd handle her or him a certain way. If I had a child that was more stronger, I handled them a certain way. I might have put them more in a leadership role. And I just kind of took a little bit more time with the ones that probably need a little bit more nurturing. And
Hmm.
so for me, it wasn't that I learned their love language. I just, I don't know. I guess when we was talking, I guess as kids, because I just know kids like gifts, and they
Mhm.
like certain things. And so for me, I that's where the part of the love language, I on the other side of that, when you say that, so it was different for me. I didn't learn their love language. I just told my kid, I just made a vow to my 6 children, I was gonna love them unconditionally, and I was gonna protect them at all costs, because we was in such a vulnerable situation that I had to take on more of a masculine role to
Mhm.
protect them and to keep them for, so it was for me. I kind of just went into a more nurturing role, probably a little bit too much, but I
Mhm.
kind of just honed in on that, and I just kind of went more into my love language is words of affirmation. Now I did pour. Now what I did do, I poured out my love language onto them. So I was more of pointing to them, when they saw their cousins laughing at us, when they saw family members not helping us, and they were like, why we're struggling, why we're always going through things. So for me, I just took the time to nurture and pour. I didn't have the money to buy them any Christmas, nothing materially, but what I did do, I was there for every important moment that they can come, whether I'm coming in now with Goodwill clothes on
Mhm.
or whatever. But I just took so that's a long story short. I just did it a different way. It wasn't to me for the love language for
Mhm.
me. Yeah, that I use with my 6 kids.
Gotcha.
Mhm,
And so, just to kind of explain the first one, words of affirmation.
mhm,
Words of affirmation, according to Gary Chapman, is the most common of the love languages. Affirmations are expressions of love, gratitude, and respect for one another, for another person. They are encouraging expressions that are used to lift someone up. Examples of words of affirmation include: you're doing a great job. Keep up
mhm,
the good work. You are beautiful. You are special. And so, even for me here lately, I've been going through therapy, counseling myself for the last
mhm.
2 years. And one of the things that my therapist has me doing is she has me doing daily affirmations and basically speaking those things that I may not necessarily believe about myself, having me speak those things on a daily basis. So, one of the things that I tell myself every day is, "You're beautiful." And
Yes.
because for a long time, I didn't see myself as beautiful. I saw all of my flaws. And so, one of the things, so when I hear the word affirmations, I just think about how powerful they can be, and if used in the right way. And so,
Mhm,
again, just speaking those things where when you're talking to your daughter and just kind of just honing in on those unique gifts and talents that she has that she may not even recognize that she has. For example, with my daughter, and Lakia can testify, one of the things that I've always told her is like, okay, because my daughter has a testimony out of this world, and we won't get into all of it today. But one of the things that she was told as a little girl, and I believed, and I spoke it into her. So every time she kind of gets in a funk, I try to remind her that she is a spiritual giant, and so that her testimony will save the lives of others. So even when she gets to feeling down on herself and she's going through, whatever she's going through, I for years have been speaking that into her, like, you are a testimony. You are a walking testimony. You are powerful. Like, you are gifted. You are anointed. And so I speak those things into her. And even if she doesn't believe them right now, I know that I've sown those seeds. And so, Lakia, I'm glad that you were able to join back in. And so I wanted to kind of bring you in on the conversation, because one of the things that I learned along the way is that when you were growing up and fell into what you fell into, and we'll get into that, I wasn't quite, I didn't know anything about love languages. All I kind of knew about was taking care of my kids, right? And so, can you kind of tell me about like what your love language was, and if I was speaking your language?
Um, well, back then, it was more, my love languages. My two main ones would be physical touch and what was that? Receiving gifts.
Hmm.
Not receiving gifts, but what was the other one?
So we have words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts.
Quality time and physical touch was the main one for me because my mom was always giving me gifts and buying me stuff. And that wasn't fulfilling for me. So for me, it was more so I needed the hugs, the kisses, laying in the bed with your mom and, you know, doing things like that. Um, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then so we're about to just kind of just jump. And so with
Okay.
that, keep thinking about that. And because you are a survivor of sex trafficking, thinking about that and thinking about your encounters with sex trafficking, thinking about that your one of your love languages was that quality time, and it was not being spoken to in an appropriate way. And moms, again, we're not being judgmental. We're having an
Mhm.
open conversation and we're being real and raw. And
Mhm.
Right.
I'm putting myself out there first, right? And so I understand now that what I was giving to you wasn't what you needed. Of course, at that time, it was like, how could she not appreciate the gifts? I'm going out of my way. I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and it's not enough. But I understand now. We had two different values. You value time, and my goal at the time, because I was a single parent, was to make sure that you had the finer things in life. You had the necessities. You had so
Right.
with that said, when you think back to your involvement with sex trafficking and you think back to the quality time, how did those two align? How was your pimp able to use your love language kind of against you or to draw you in?
Well, I would say how he exploited my love languages would be, can you all hear me?
Mhm.
The way that he exploited them would be like the receiving. I feel like they kind of use all of them. So, and they use them in a different approach. Like if you don't have anybody telling you you're beautiful or you're like the words of affirmation, if nobody's speaking that into you, when somebody just tells you that you just look nice, it's like the world to you. So they use that, I don't think they know, like how to. They don't know the term for it, the proper term for it, but they know to play on those things. Like if you have low self esteem, they know to play on your self esteem. They know if you like nice things, they know to play on that. They know um, if you just like being alone. The boyfriend pimps, that's where that comes in. The Romeo pimp, where they come in, they try to play your boyfriend and play like they just saved the world when really it's you doing all the work. They're just making it. I don't know how to
Mhm.
explain it. They're making this false, creating a false narrative. So I would say that's how they use the love languages. Well, exploit the love languages for girls like me to fall into stuff like that.
And I'm so glad that you use the word exploit, because that's exactly what happened. And so in thinking about that, and Dr. Holden, if you have any questions, please feel free to jump in. But in thinking about that, and again, I'm going to be very transparent, because again, my thing at the time as a young mom, a single mom, was just making sure my kids had a roof over their head, something to eat, and just my so I was speaking to them, what I felt like they needed, and wasn't necessarily catering to what it is they actually needed. So in thinking about your experience and looking back, do you feel do you feel that if you would have received, and again, we're not making excuses or placing blame, we're just we're being real.
Mhm.
So do you feel that um, you having the inappropriate language spoken to you, the wrong language spoken to you, love language being shown to you, do you think that played a part in somebody coming along and being able to kind of, I'll say it like the young people say it, finesse you?
Yeah, yeah. I think so. Another thing that I was going to say was a lot of people don't even know what love languages are, and they don't even know what they. It's like you need something and you don't know what it is that you need until you get it, type thing. And I feel like that's kind of the love language thing. That's kind of how I look at love language, because before you couldn't tell me that I needed to spend more time with my mom to feel better. You couldn't tell me I had to stay at home, and I want to be close to my mom. That people would think that's the last thing I wanted to do because I was running away, and me and you didn't have a good relationship. I didn't even know that I needed that until I was grown. So, you probably could have told me I needed it, or you probably could have gave it to me, and I probably still wouldn't have received it, just because the place that I was in.
I
Oh
would
wow!
like, yeah, I would like, and on the flip side of that, is probably why the residue is still with me, because I wasn't able to provide the things my children needed, and but I was giving them so much love and so much words of affirmation and so much nurturing, but they still were kids. They wanted the stuff they saw other little
Right,
kids. So for
exactly.
me, I'm thinking, oh gosh, we're homeless, we're struggling. I don't have money to go get your hair done, to get you the shoes, the clothes. And so for me, I guess mentally for me, I was looking at myself as a failure because I wasn't
Mm,
able to do that when I was able. And I guess being homeless for so long, I kept them so close to me to protect them, because that we was in a vulnerable position. So my
right.
daughters wouldn't go out. So it was like the flip side for me. I didn't have the stuff. And so for me, for a long time, I thought I was a failure, to the point where my son got a promotion. He served 10.5 years in the Marines. When he called me and said, "Mom, can you come to Tennessee to pin me at my ceremony to Staff Sergeant Holden?" My mind, it automatically went to, "Oh, you want me to come do it?" Because I'm thinking you would want somebody that wasn't home, that didn't struggle like my mom, my dad, my sisters. And I was like, I was so shocked that he called me to do it. And he was like, "Well, why would I not call you?" He said, "Had it not been for you," he said, "you could have gave us up, you could have split us away." He said, "But you kept all of us together and kept us so close. That's why we became successful adults." But in my mind, the residue for me thinking I was such a failure because I didn't have the things that you was giving your daughter. You know what I'm saying? It was like the
I
flip
know.
side of it.
Mhm.
But I was pouring into them so much. Yeah, it's so I don't know. It's just interesting because wow, I really thought I was, for me, and it just God sometimes give me confirmations, and like you said, the therapy, because now I'm entering therapy
Mhm.
because my self-esteem had kind of got shattered. Even though I was making accomplishment, I was building my life over brick by brick, but my self-worth of how I was seeing myself as a homeless mom that was trying, and a homeless mom, my kids, when I could only probably give one gift for Christmas, and basically that was coming from the empty stocking fund, and anybody know, and I just felt so bad, So that's just it's humbling for me to see that for the moms who are listening, and you can't provide the financial part of something to your kids, but if you definitely can be there with the love and the encouragement and the nurturing and pointing to them, that probably would take root and go further
Yeah.
than you think a gift, you know what I'm saying? Than you think a gift
Absolutely.
would.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and then not to interrupt you, but sometimes, like my stepdad said, he told me the other, like a couple of weeks ago, you can do your best when it comes down to a child.
Yeah.
You can give them everything they need, everything they want, everything they desire. Whatever they decide to do, they're gonna do it how they want to do it, and it doesn't mean it doesn't make you more or less of a parent
Mhm.
because of the decisions. I feel like once you give them that platform, once you give them everything that they need, you know what I'm saying, to basically survive in life and be an outstanding citizen and be a woman or a man of God. Once you give them that, it's like I feel like you should rest easy because some mothers not even doing that. They won't
Mhm.
even do that. So I commend both of you all because like your kids may not have been appreciative of that of the words of affirmation. Just like I wasn't appreciating the receiving gifts from my mom, and not understanding that she couldn't spend time with me because she was working to get all this nice stuff that I wanted. You know, the it's like I feel like I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I just know that I don't look at it as a bad thing. I feel like you all
Mhm.
gave your best shot, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, and you did the best that you can do based off of what we all was given from being first women and black women at that, you know what
Mhm.
I'm saying, being faced with so many different because let's just be real, we're like the most our, the black women are the most
Mhm.
unprotected in the whole world. Like I don't care what nobody say. You can look at any minority. You can look at anybody who's like at the lowest of the totem pole. The black woman is always right there because we're at the forefront of everything, and we gotta hold ourselves together because we don't have nobody to protect us. We're protecting ourselves.
Mhm.
So we're just going off of what our grandmothers and our mothers were taught based off pure survival. So I don't look at it as a bad thing. I look at it as we should just educate each other. Because like I said, I
Mhm.
didn't know that I needed some of the things I needed until somebody basically told me and put words on those feelings and put what I'm saying, those thoughts in my head, put it into action. So that's my little piece.
Well, thank you for your little piece. We surely appreciate that. And so I did want to kind of go back and say so quality time. And so just to kind of explain what quality time is and what it looks like. Quality time, which is simply showing undivided attention. So what does that? What does that mean, Mom? That means putting down the phone, having those one-on-one conversations, and giving them that time that they that and it's sometimes it's hard to do when your
Mhm.
child's love language is quality time because they time is one of those things like whoo, it's like you in some of our lives, it's like you don't have enough of it, and so to have to sit and
Mhm.
kind of just give this time to this one person, sometimes it's kind of hard for us. But again, because we have so much to do,
Mhm.
especially when you're a single mom or a professional mom or just whatever, time sometimes is hard to come by. But regardless of how long you sit there, for someone whose primary love language is quality time, this lack of connectedness can leave them feeling empty and alone. So taking that time to sit there, watch TV, just again, just having a quick conversation and just that one-on-one time goes a long, long way. And when you're doing that, you want to make sure that you're having making eye contact because I have a bad habit of being like, yeah, yeah, and I haven't
Yeah.
heard anything, anything. And so my youngest has figured that out. So he'll go, well, Mom, did you hear what I said? And I'm like, oh, I can't say yes, I did when I really didn't, because then he'll come back and be like, well, what did I say? And I'm like, oh, so just making that eye contact and taking the time because the cell phone, the computers, the jobs,
Mhm.
the boyfriends, the spouses, the husband, like they take up a
Mhm.
lot of our time. And so, and because they take so much of our time, it's like when we get a minute, we just want time to breathe. And so when you have a daughter whose love language is time, it's like, okay, sometimes it can be, a lot. And I'm just, I may not speak for everybody, but I know I'm speaking for somebody. So, but if that is their love language, just make sure you take that time to make that eye contact and ask questions, be engaged. And so, those are some of the ways that, if you have a daughter whose love language is quality time, those are some of the ways that you can speak that language. Dr. Holden or Lakia, do you have anything that you can add to the quality time aspect of the love language?
Yeah, I want to say that's a tricky one for me because, like I said, I was a runaway, so you couldn't tell me that spending time with the family would be like the key to my happiness. I didn't understand that. I really feel like I just figured that out because it's a chore for me to get up and engage. And I'm not even going to say just with family, just with anybody, but to get up and like my mom said, devote that time, that precious time. Even though I don't have any kids, I feel like I have a busy life. It's just, but just spending time with my mom, just going like she has her own business, and I'm able to sit next to her while we're both doing the business, and we're spending time, and I'm not even realizing, okay, I kind of like this, you
Mhm.
know. So, and then I realized like maybe if I had more of this, then I wouldn't be this way. I wouldn't feel this way, or I wouldn't feel alone. So I think quality time is very important. I'm not gonna ramble.
Yeah, no, no. I like that your mom is breaking down each of the definition for each love language. It gives more, makes it more real, because a lot of people are not familiar with it. And
Right, right.
and for me, it's interesting because as a parent, I'm thinking, because I didn't have the money to go on trips and I didn't have the money. See, I'm thinking quality time. If I'm looking, although we was together all the time, and I guess it was mostly what I probably was thinking so much from a parent as a
Yeah,
failure
yeah.
standpoint. And for me, I'm
Mm,
thinking I'm failing because I associated everything. And because when you're homeless for so long, people treat you as a nobody. So from like my daughter, my two grandkids, they probably done been out the country 5 times. They're not even 12 yet. So for me, I'm looking like, oh, I wish I had the money to do that with you guys. And now, I'm like, I wish I had the money to do that. But I'm thinking, but you was there. You was there. You was there every day with them. You talk. So for me, I think as a parent, I was so whoever's watching, you might be doing this stuff, but you're thinking because it's not in the traditional sense.
Right.
You're
And you
thinking,
always
okay,
associate it with money.
yeah, everything. So for me, this whole time, and I'm trying not to cry, this whole time just listening to you, Lakia, and when your mom, beautiful mom, breaking it down, for me, this whole time, I've been thinking I was a failure
mm.
No,
as a parent
no.
because, and okay, I'm sorry,
Come
because
on,
I'm,
be free.
but
And then
I was, but I
I
was
feel like
there
it
in
takes
the,
strength.
yeah, in the
It
shelter. We
takes
was there. We was talking. We go over times and reminisce. Mama, you remember when we was so poor? We used to pull up to the gas station and we're in the car arguing who to get out, go pump that $3 worth of quarters. And so so we laugh now. But I remember my son said, "But you kept us all together." And I was so for me, a lot of this stuff, because I was so rejected by family. I was the black sheep of the family for dropping out in the ninth grade and having 4 kids by 22. Wow, I was doing this stuff, but I think because it wasn't in the traditional way of doing it,
Hmm.
right.
and I think that's why. My God, I'm sorry, God might be giving me a deliverance through this.
Come
That's why,
through.
because when you breaking it
Me,
down and seeing hearing Lakia talk about it, so parent, you probably doing some of the stuff you think, but because you're not the financially stable mom or dad in the family.
right.
You probably think, oh, I'm not doing anything. When all of us, so I'm on the flip side. I'm trying to be the devil's advocate here
Mhm.
because some parents might be doing, don't even know they're doing
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely. And
Right.
again,
Because you can buy you can
I,
go
I
ahead,
just want
mom.
to say real quick, I, because for what stood out for me is that sometimes they don't eat, you can be giving it to them,
it. Yeah.
And they don't even
and they
exactly.
still not receive it.
Exactly.
And so
Exactly.
it's tricky. You see what
It's
I'm saying?
tricky.
It's
Yeah.
tricky in that again, you're again because as moms, most of us we're giving what we feel like is
Mm-hmm.
our best,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so and then and what because of whatever place they're in, the child in, your daughter's in, she may not be receptive of it. However, keep doing what you're doing, mom.
Right.
You know
I
what?
I feel
Uh,
like a lot of it is in your head of what you feel like you should be doing, and versus just understanding what your child just needs. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? Because you're having in your head, I want to be this type of parent. I want to be able to give them this and do that, but that's not what every child needs. Because look at all the celebrity kids that they got
Mm-hmm.
everything, and the crackheads on the corner, because they don't have no substance, they don't have anything, no life spoken into them. All they have is all the gifts that you bought. And what is that? And when you're facing a life or death situation where you gotta either pray or lay, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And you don't know what to do. You just looking at the shoes my mama bought me. So it's I feel like yeah,
You
keep
know
doing
what?
what you're doing.
You know what? And now you're right, kids. And what I did learn from kids, we got to flip it on some kids too. Now, kids are people, so they know how to work you too.
Right,
Kids are around you, so they're looking at. Because there was a point in time where my kids used to look at my nieces and nephews. At that time, it
right,
seemed like they was the ones on their moms was doing better financially,
right.
you know. And so they would kind of be a little hard. Oh, why you don't never have now? Why you don't have now that they're grown and they're probably doing better than my nieces and nephews
That's
because
what I was just about to say.
they took for
I was just
granted
about to
what I
say
was
that.
giving them. Okay, I
Hmm.
don't have the fancy car. We ride around on a plug. And I think what kids will do, kids know how to play on you too. So I want the
You're
parents.
right.
Kids know how to make you feel bad. You giving your all, and because what they're doing, kids watch too how other people treat the mom or the dad.
Hmm.
So I
Right.
just want I'm pro parent because I think sometimes kids can kind of play on parents when they know the parents are doing their best and make to try to get more. The selfishness of being a child
Yes.
sometimes can come out, and you can
That's
make
why you can't. Yeah, that's why you
yeah,
can't make your like feelings based off of how that child feels about something, because their feelings are gonna change. Like they may
yeah,
want that Xbox today, and
yes,
then tomorrow they want something else. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
don't stress yourself
Step
about
out.
not being able to buy certain things or do certain things,
Yeah,
because first of all, children's minds change, their
yes.
behavior change, their ages change, their interests change. So and that you just gotta they gotta roll with the flow. They gotta know they basically gotta be able to learn how to just adapt to what mama got going on, because mama is the captain.
You,
So
girl, you know what? I think that's why I was so shocked that my son called me. I was like, why you call me? I thought you were gonna call the people who had it, and he was like, no, parents, if you're doing the best that you know how. I used to tell my kids this. It should be no for me. It should be no reason you're out there in public. And I tell them, although they're 20 to 33 now, and they still, I drilled this in them so much. I said, it shouldn't be no reason you're out there acting like a menace to society, like somebody didn't raise you. I feel the kids that's out there that's doing that are the ones that have been abused, neglected. But if you're doing your best parent and you're not abusing or neglecting your kids, or you're not abusing them, or anything that's detrimental to that, you're doing okay. Don't let these kids
I'm
fool
through.
you.
I'm
These
through.
kids will
I'm
have
through.
you thinking you ain't doing a good job. And then when they get older, my son told me Dave when he crossed over yesterday to 5 Beta Sigma, you was always there. And I'm saying in my mind, because I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
I might didn't have what you thought was the end thing at the time. He was like, you was there the whole time. College,
Mhm.
when I graduated Marine boot camp, when I did it, you was always. But you sometimes you miss it because it didn't come with the bells and whistles,
It didn't come with the bells
right.
and whistles. Right.
And so parents, if you're listening, do not let these kids stress you out. If you can just buy one Christmas gift, doggone it, they're gonna appreciate
One
that one.
yeah.
If you
Right.
can't afford the latest Jordans or what, don't let these kids stress you out and
Doc-
think it's your
Dr.
failure.
Holden, let me jump in real quick. So I have a 25-year-old. And so he told me a couple weeks ago. So again, my thing was, oh, let me make sure I can get them something. Let me, because that was one of the things that my mom did for me. So a
Mhm.
lot of times, what we do as parents, we regurgitate, the same thing. And so I'm like, okay, to be a successful mom, I need to be able to provide for my kids. So my son told me the other week, he said, "You been around here, you giving me money and you giving me stuff, and that ain't what I need." And I said, He said, "I need hugs, mama. I need I need you to come over and visit me, and I need you to, and I'm sitting here like, you mean to tell me I could have saved all this money?
But like she said, kids are manipulative.
They
They're
would,
gonna
I
take the
mean, be
money and
honest. They
he gonna
just
take the money.
they
He
ain't
gonna take it. He's absolutely he's gonna take it. But it hit home for me. I'm like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. So because it was a conversation that we were having, and he was like, I just, I don't feel supported. And I'm like, how you don't feel supported? I give you money all the time. He's like, no, no, no. That's not the support I'm talking about in this moment. I'm talking about words of affirmation. I'm
Mhm.
talking about quality time. And I'm like, oh my goodness, And so, but just to jump ahead real quick. So next up is physical touch. So if your daughter's physical touch, love language is physical touch. This refers to the act of showing and receiving affection by physical contact, closeness, or other connectedness. Physical contact can include hugging, kisses,
Mhm.
holding hands, things like that. Those are some of the things, admittedly, I did not do. And again,
Right.
I mirrored a lot of how I was raised. So when I was raising my daughter, when I was raising my children, I did what I was taught, and what I was used to, what I knew. So I didn't know much about hugging and kissing and you know receiving this type of affection and love from my mom. I That was foreign to me. I didn't know it. And so I can remember my mom passed in 2014, and she was 53 when she passed away. So when she passed away, the years prior, she was most of the time she was staying with me. And so I can remember, um, like it was yesterday. I can remember walking in the kitchen and my mom walked up to me. Now, so my mom had a stroke, so she was unable to
Mhm.
talk. But she could get around. She was paralyzed on one side, and she was in the kitchen, and I walked in the kitchen to maybe grab some water or something. And when I and I'm a grown woman at this point,
Mhm.
and so when I go in to grab whatever I was grabbing, she reached over and she kissed me, and I felt so awkward because that was so foreign to me. I literally, I got pissed.
Mhm.
And it was one of those things like, what is this? I couldn't compute. I could not
Mhm.
compute what she had done. But now that she's gone, I can look back on that and I embrace that moment and I realized I needed more of that. And then I also realized that I didn't give that to my children because again it was something that was foreign to me. And so mothers, if your daughter's love language is physical touch, she's looking for the hugs, she's looking for the kisses, she's looking for the holding hands, she's looking for just that physical touch. And then we'll jump right ahead to acts of service. The fourth of Chapman's love language is characterized as providing your child with things that you know she will appreciate. An act of service is really about going above and beyond significantly assist and support your daughter. This may be involvement in school activities. Wasn't me. I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't me. Because again, I was a single parent, so me trying to show up to every event, I, I I'm again, my focus was my focus, and my focus was being able to provide a roof over my children's head. And so when I wasn't able to do that, I felt like a failure. And so once I did, once we were able to kind of get back on our feet, my goal was to never allow that to happen again. And so again, it's focus still wasn't um let's cater to, my daughter's love language. Let me make sure that, when she does decide to come home, she has a home to come back to. You know what I'm saying? And so it
Right.
was, it took some work there. Um,
T, can I jump? Because I call you T because you're first. I don't want to mess it up. So can you tell me how?
you're good. You're good.
Okay. With that, and for the parents, it's no to to be realistic. It's no way we probably can make it to everything. It's I mean that just.
Right.
But what we can do, those probably those defining moments, graduation. Just for me, my kids weren't really active like in clubs or because I guess uh the homeless period was in that most of that high school, going in middle school and high school, so they weren't really active and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell them I never missed a graduation. When you graduated from boot camp, I was there, and I would just want to. It's something I just keep hearing because I just want to keep repeating it. Don't let these kids manipulate you and think and have you thinking that what you're doing, because for so long, for a period, it was about a period of time, maybe about the last 3 to 5 years is when I probably saw. Let me see, they're 20 to 33. I'll probably say the last 3 years, they probably just now is appreciating what I did do. Because like I said,
Mhm.
they measure the look what was little to them, they measure by what they saw friends have, and so
Right.
I didn't really get a lot of
Right.
I'm proud of you, Mom. We need to hear I'm proud. Mom, thank you. Now
Amen.
I'm hearing it. But it would have made me feel a whole lot better if I heard, wow, you was there. And so here I
Yeah.
am not hearing it from them. I'm thinking, nothing I do was right. Nothing I did was good enough. I was there. I mean, I know I didn't have the money to give them or to buy them or to send them or to help them when they got older on a bill, but I was there at every defining moment in their lives.
Right.
I just want to tell the parents, please don't let these kids play this. My kids are very manipulative. They
Yes.
are people. They're your children, but they are people just like a friend or something, and they have been with you the longest. They know your weak
No,
spot. They
they
know
know.
how to play you. They know you probably better than the person who you dated. So don't let kids play you, because now my kids are got older and they're realizing, oh, you really was there. And all the time
Yeah.
I'm looking like, thank you for acknowledging, because y'all they didn't acknowledge for a long time that what I was doing was something. And
Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
I
And I
just want to just parent, yeah. So
And Dr. Holden,
go ahead.
I'm glad you put that tidbit in, because I'm going to speak right here into the camera, and I'm going to affirm a mother, and I am going to say what you said, Dr. Holden. Mom, you are doing a great job.
yeah.
Mom,
Yeah.
you are doing a great job. Mom, keep up the good work. Mom, you got this. Mom,
Yes.
hold your head up.
Yes.
Mom, we are proud of you. Mom, we
Yes.
support you. Mom, keep up the good work. Mom, hang in there. Mom, you got this. So again, you're right. We're gonna affirm another mother today, because
Yeah.
again, we get so tricked in our minds thinking,
Yes.
okay, because we're not doing this, we didn't do that, and we didn't do this. And again, because one of our goals in this organization is to kind of educate and to empower
Mhm.
and to
Mhm.
influence and things like that. And so one of the things that I have come to realize is that we do get hard on ourselves, and we
Mhm.
do, we do have our insecurities as women, as moms, and we do feel like failures because we didn't feel like we didn't meet some mark, some invisible mark that was set, that we
Mhm.
probably never could have reached anyway. And if we did meet it, it may not have made a difference anyhow. But
Mhm.
I know that there's a trick, that there's a person out there that plays
Mhm.
these tricks on our minds to have us feeling like we didn't do a good job. And so, Mom, I want to negate that lie today, that you are doing a great job. And even where you did mess up,
Mhm.
even where you maybe didn't meet the mark, that's okay.
That's
That
okay.
is
Yeah.
okay. That is okay. And so you just you live and you learn and you move on. And
Yeah.
so again, so Dr. Holden, thank you so much for saying that, because again, like you said, we will get so caught up in our failures
Yeah.
and miss everything else that we are doing right, that we are spending the time, we are, keeping the family together, we are, taking those, we are, just pouring whatever it is that we have into them. And so we're not going to downplay anything,
Yes.
Mom,
Yes.
that you have accomplished. And we're not going to continue to hold on anything that you may have messed up in. And again, because you like you said, kids will try to hold that against you.
Yeah.
But one thing I've learned through therapy is that once you've forgiven you,
That's it.
once you're confident in who you are, then there's nothing anybody can tell you that will make you feel a certain type of way. If you're feeling a certain type of way when you hear a certain type of thing, it's because you're dealing with that internally. It's
Mm-hmm.
because it resonates with something on the inside of you. But when you become fully forgiving yourself and you fully healed and you're fully just confident in who you are and your abilities, good and bad, then you can hear whatever and still be confident in your abilities, mom. So I need for some mom to understand that, okay, you got this, you got
Yes.
this,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Lakia, Miss Holden, Dr. Holden, do you all want to add anything else before I go on to acts of service?
I was gonna say, how many of anybody who's been a child and grown up with their parent, you look at your parent as like as the op, what they
The
call
villain.
it.
The villain.
Yeah, like, as the they're your enemy until you get grown, until you really go through life like they went through life. You're never gonna appreciate it because, like my mom told me, nobody really. You're not gonna feel it until you have to pay for it. Until you have to go through it and experience it yourself, and you have to sacrifice something. That's when you understand, okay, she did the best that she could. Because in some situations, where I was like, I don't know how my mama got through this here. you know. So I think that comes with, I'm not kids are manipulative. We do play on our parents, but a lot of it comes with time, and it comes with life experiences and just maturing and understanding that that person did the best that they had with what they were given and what they had at the time. So that
Absolutely.
I just
that's
want to
it.
amen Lakia. You know what? I think now my daughters, they might, and it's interesting because they talk like when they make comments, I'm sitting in the room like, "Tuh, oh, now it's not grown up, ain't all what you credit. You didn't expect to be a single mom. You didn't expect to go through a divorce. You did. I say that's why I was telling you, baby. Once you
Yeah.
get grown, oh, life is gonna, and so we got to be kind to each other. Children have to, and I just wrote a children's book but about a struggling mom, and the kids was kind of, oh, we don't have this, but end up with kids. You got to be kind to your parents too, and vice versa. It ain't just
Yeah.
parents got to do all the pouring. No, we need to feel the kindness and support. We are humans, just the same way we give you guys permission, children, if teenagers, whoever's going to watch this, the same way parents love you unconditionally through your growing pains. We need the same
Right.
love condition back. Half of
Compassion.
us had
Right.
y'all when we was teenagers, early 20s. We relationships and life happens to us, and we got to deal with raising you guys. But we need the same kindness and love back. And we need to feel
Absolutely.
like it's okay, mom,
Absolutely.
you made a mistake. It's
Mhm.
okay. And now that my girls are grown and my sons is, oh man, man,
Right. It's
see how hard it was. I'm
right.
like, you think?
You think.
You
Exactly.
think,
You think.
like you said, like kid, when you get grown and you start to experience life
Right.
yourself, then it comes, oh yeah, I wasn't expecting that I'd be the boy. I wasn't expect. I say, exactly.
Mhm. Mhm.
Exactly.
Exactly. Give the parents enough time to grieve. I used to tell my kid, I can't talk to you today. I'm depressed. I go in the room. I was real, they might, well, you remember that one day you stayed in your room all day. See, this one the enemy would try to use the kid to play. You
Yeah.
remember that one day you was depressed and you didn't come out your room and you ain't want to be boss. I said, and then when I hear my daughter, oh, can you come get the grandkids? I just need a day to myself. I said, oh, really? I said,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you need a day to yourself. She said, this what happened. I say,
Mhm.
oh, I say, and they talk like you don't understand what they're talking about. I say, interesting. I've been there. Oh, I know a little bit about that.
A
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah.
So give your parents grace and mercy. Life happens and it's
Yeah.
hard on everybody, whether
Yeah.
you're a parent or a kid. But
Yeah.
that's when the unconditional love. But I just want to say, I think my kids finally getting it. But because they're getting it after the fact, I had to go through that middle part where I felt nothing I did was good enough.
Hmm.
And
Right.
so that's why I'm saying be kind and gentle with all around the board with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Mom, be kind to yourself. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? Mom, I need for you to give yourself words of affirmation. Like
Yes.
I said, one of the
Right.
things that I do on a daily basis is I have to get up and have to encourage myself, Mom. I have to get up and tell myself, hey, Mom, you're doing a good job. Tapizia, you're doing a good job. Tapizia, you're successful. Tapizia, you are beautiful. Tapizia, you got this. So those words of affirmation that you have that your daughter needs, you need them too.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Okay. So acts of service. The fourth of Chapman's love language is characterized as providing your child with the things that you know they will appreciate. Um, an act of service is really about going above and beyond to significantly assist and support the other person. Like I said, I think I mentioned earlier, involvement in activities, doing special things like fixing their favorite meals, just something as simple as that. And then just working alongside them, maybe helping them do the dishes, helping them clean their room, or these are some practical ways. And I do want to kind of piggyback and just for legal purposes and say that we're not counselors, we're not therapists, we're simply giving advice, and we're just speaking mom to mom. So
Yes.
I'll throw that part in there. And then so the last one is receiving gifts. Is the last of the love languages. Now this is the one that I was doing, and my son came back and told me, Mom, thank you, I'll take it, but here's what I really needed." So receiving gifts is the last of the love languages. No, it is not about the gift for the child, for your daughter. It's about creating a special moment with your child. Children who have gift as their love language feel love when they receive tangible items such as gift cards or special notes or gift certificates, greeting cards or special rewards. And so that's a tricky one because I think one of the questions was, can a child have more than one love language? And I absolutely believe they can and do. And like the
Yes.
young folks say, and do. And so
Uh-huh.
and like Lakia mentioned, they change though, and because
Yeah.
when she and I were talking earlier, she was like, I needed this back then, but I think now that I'm a little older, I need this. I think this is what
Right.
matters. And so I think it is possible and very logical that children have more than the one love language. So
Yeah, I think mainly while they're young is gonna be receiving gifts till they get older and they realize
Exactly.
money don't grow on trees.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's
so
why I
you
said with
probably hear a
kids.
lot of that.
Yeah. That's why I said with kids, most kids want gifts. They want because they trying to keep up with everybody else around them. They want the stuff.
Right,
So you can't. And so I don't want the parents to be hard on themselves if you can't provide the stuff, and
right.
for me, but my one of my daughters, she started to do hair at so when you said the gifts, she started to do braids and stuff when she was like 13, 14. And I didn't have much. We was living in the board up house at squatters. I said, I don't have much, but I want to invest in you. I said, I'm gonna take $20. We're gonna go to the beauty supply store and we're gonna get you little hair products and stuff. And that was I'm pouring into you. I don't have a lot, but I went on Vista Print, got her little cards made. But I think for me, I probably tapped into each little love language and then no,
Uh-huh.
because it was on the grand scheme of things,
Right,
I did not I didn't see the value in what I was doing as a parent.
right.
Because I would do little stuff when my daughter turned 13. We had her nice birthday party, or when she turned 16, we went to Tri Cities and brought it was little and but it added up. And it's interesting
Right.
for them because while they was I thought they wasn't paying attention because they murmured and complained, why, we don't and but now looking back, I think for me, that's one of the reasons why they're successful. Now
Uh-huh.
all six of them, but the enemy wanted me to think as a parent I wasn't doing anything, and he would use the kids sometimes to make it seem like what you're doing is not good. But now I'm seeing it's probably you probably need to do a little bit of each love language, depending on yeah. I don't think it's probably. I think they probably need just a little sprinkle of each one.
Right.
Yeah,
Just water their seeds a little bit.
just
Water
a
their
little
seeds a
Sprinkle
little
them in
bit.
there. I like that. I like that. I like that. Just
Yeah.
give, just come on.
yeah, because I think at certain
All
points in
of it.
time, yeah, at certain points in time, they might need you to come up with a little couple of dollars to get a
Right.
bill for the eighth grade dance. Then they might need to come and cry to you about the first heartbreak. Then they might need this when they feeling like they're not in the
Yeah.
in crowd. You see what I'm saying? So I think at each time, you just got to be in tune with them to say, "Hey, something is going on. Let's
Mhm.
talk."
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm. Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like that too.
This was good, y'all.
it was.
Yeah.
This yeah. I and the key. I really, because our goal, one of our goals at the Chosen Ones, is to educate mothers in hopes of preventing daughters from becoming or being sexually exploited. I want to bring it all home. I want to make it make sense and kind of why we this was a topic. Again, what we understood and what we understand is that pimps are strategic in what they do, and they know
Uh-huh.
how to speak your daughter's love language regardless to what it is. And so
Mhm.
I want us to be able to beat them at their own
Uh-huh.
game by being able to provide our children, our daughters, with what it is that they need at home, so that they don't have to go outside looking for words of affirmation. So I want to
Right.
make it, I want to make you aware, mom, that okay, daughters need these words of affirmation. They do need physical touch. They do need just acts of service and gifts and different things like that. Because again, these are some, and I'm not saying all in all cases, I'm not
Yeah,
saying that, but there are times when they will go outside of the home to find what they're not getting on the inside of the home, and sometimes it could be very, very detrimental. And so with that, ladies, Dr. Holden, if you could tell everybody how to about your books, where to find your books, your social media handles, and how they can follow you.
yeah. Thank you, Tapezia and Lakia. Thank you so much. Your spirit. I mean, you just came in.
Yes, I
I'm
love
glad you
you.
was honest about, because it took a lot for you to say, yeah, as kids we can be manipulative. So I want
Yeah.
to thank you for that, because yeah, kids can play on
Yeah.
parents. So I just want to thank you for that. No, we're not. But
Yes.
I thank you for your transparency. That look, yeah, kids know how to play you too.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
so I'm available for speaking engagements. My website is www.4seasons with an S seasons singleparent.org. So it's four seasons singleparent.org. All of my books are available on Amazon. So, and you can email me at LaTarsha Holden at yahoo.com.
Awesome, awesome,
Alrighty.
awesome. In the Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, well, type in LaTarsha Holden, Facebook, Instagram, and I'm also on LinkedIn.
Oh,
Okay then,
all
Dr.
right, all right,
Holden.
all right. And so for us, Lakia and I, again, we're the founders of the Chosen Ones. And so we can be found on Facebook and Instagram at the Chosen Ones Inc. on Facebook and Instagram. We do have a book that she and I wrote together. It can be found on Amazon. It's called More Than Conquerors. When you type that in, there's going to be several books that come up. So I always put in my name because my name is so unique. So it's More Than Conquerors, and then by Topezia Ivy and Lakia Shumate. Our website is www.t like Tom, C as in Charlie, the number one, the letter S.org. Again, thank you so much, Dr. Holden. Thank you so much,
Yes,
Lakia,
thank you.
for being so transparent, for being so open, for being so real, for being so raw. Again, our prayer is that some mother is able to take this information and just be healed by it, be fulfilled by it, and just be set free and delivered by it, and just being able to be a better mother, better mom, better woman. And again, so we're not here to judge, we're not here to criticize. That was not our intent at all. Again, it was simply to just bring awareness to love languages and just the different ways that you can speak to your daughter's love languages and the different love languages that exist. Again, because there is an enemy out there that's waiting to
Yes.
catch your child off guard or catch you off guard, for the purpose of and for the purpose of manipulating your daughter. So we want to make sure that we as moms are able to, ensure that we're covering our daughters before they go out into the world. And so that was our goal on today. Again, it had nothing to do with criticism. It had nothing to do with any of that. It's simply to empower and to encourage. So again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Dr. Holden, just for your willingness to be a part. Lakia, thank you for your openness. We really, really appreciate it. And thank everyone so much for watching.
Thank you. Love you guys.